Hello and welcome to Season 2 of the Soccer Coaching Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Scott.
And I'm the other host, Mark.
In each episode, Mark and I will discuss the key topics that impact on football coaching in the foundation and youth development phases. We will share our thoughts, ideas and experiences, and whenever possible include guests so we can get their insights and opinions too. Thanks for listening and we hope you enjoy this episode. Hello everyone and welcome to this episode of the Soccer Coaching Podcast. I'm delighted today to have two guests with us. We've got James Stokes and we've got Jack Norbury, both from the Edge of Play, which we're going to talk about more in a minute. Hi guys, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Mate, I'm doing fine, thank you.
Thank
you.
you. Yeah, I'm not too bad at all. Thanks very much. Really appreciate you joining, especially at quite a short notice. I think I sent a message over the weekend and you guys came back pretty quick and said, yeah, happy to be on an episode and have a chat about all things football and coaching. So grateful for that. Just as a brief intro then, I think the way you guys came to my attention really, I think we're in a WhatsApp group. James, you shared a video around 7-a-side formations and I was looking in 7-a-side formations for my little team that I coach the weekends, and it had Jack in the video talking about those, and it was brilliant. And it was a really great video that made me click on some of the stuff you're doing around your Edge of Play work. And what I could see from that was fantastic resources that I think coaches should know a bit about. So that intrigued me to find out more about you guys and what you're doing. So if it's okay with you, for the next probably 40 minutes or so, lads, we'll have a chat around your Edge of Play stuff and just broadly around grassroots football coaching.
Sounds great.
Sounds good.
Absolutely, sounds really good.
So if you don't mind, lads, for my benefit and for listeners, just a bit of a brief background to what you guys have been doing and how you got to where you are now. James, are you happy to kick off?
Well, it's probably better to kick off with Jack, really, because the story goes that he was my coach as a player for numerous amounts of years. So
okay.
I kind of followed in those footsteps. So Jack, do you want to kick it off?
You're making me sound like I'm really, really old now, mate.
We're both the same age. You've only got 3 months on me.
Yeah, I started coaching when I was quite young, I suppose, really. I just chose to coach instead of get a girlfriend, when I was 16.
Yeah, Jack, that is the most honest answer I think we've ever had on this podcast. And I think if you went to any coach, they'd probably say the same thing if you dug a bit deeper. So well done, mate.
So yeah, got into coaching young when I was about 16, coaching the junior side, loved it. Then went away to uni. On the way back from uni, I was like, I wanted to form my own club, I decided. So set up a club called Govern Athletic. Became a passion, still running it today. And built that up over the years. Stokesy went to school with me as well, so we knew each other already. And Stokesy was at the footy club as well as a player initially, and then he started getting into his coaching big time too. So yeah, the coaching route collided a lot more over the years. And then I did some coaching with United, which through Govern, it was through my grassroots work that got me that opportunity to do that, and coaching now with the University of Manchester. So just love coaching, doing lots of it. And then Stokesy and me were getting into our coaching more and more with Govern. And yeah, we got our heads together, didn't we? And just said, we could get together and put a website together here just to share all the stuff we're learning, put it onto a website. Because I thought, you know what, YouTube's great, but there's so many other things on there. And there are other sites, but didn't feel like grassroots was properly represented and covered. Yeah. So we just got our heads together, started making videos, put them into a website, and that's where it's got going, really, didn't it, James?
Yeah, it did. So yeah, as Jack touched upon, we've known each other since school. He was a coach, and as we were friends already, it was kind of natural that I would join his team and go through that. So I actually went through 15 years or more, probably 19 years in the IT industry. I'll be honest, it wasn't a huge passion for me. And I used to look forward to my football. My football was a release, the enjoyment in training during the week and playing at the weekend. And as I got older and older, I started to think, well, what is it about this football that, is really making me buzz rather than the work I'm doing during the day? And that was that there were good sessions being born, the good people that we were working with. And that's what kind of got me thinking, I want to stay into this. If I want to stay into this, how do I do that? Well, I'll go down the coaching route. And I observed Jack, which any good coach will do. They'll observe good coaches and apply that to their own game. So I'd had 15 years of watching Jack coach, and then thought, yeah, I fancy giving this a go myself. So I went through my FA badges, currently a level 2 coach at Govern Athletic. We were just starting out as a couple of coaches there. So I'd added to Jack's team. And as Jack said, we were going through a couple of sessions, and like all good coaches, you want to look at ideas. You're always looking for new ideas. and most of the time coaches will go to YouTube to do that. But yeah, you've already touched on this, Jack. You know, a lot of the stuff you see is academies, brand spanking new academies with players that make zero mistakes and pristine coaching. And we just thought, what can we do that's just a little bit different? And I think that was touching on the grassroots element. So, you know, you watch our videos and there will be mistakes in them, but they make for great coaching points.
That's the real world, isn't it, right?
It is the real world, yeah. And like the 7-a-side formation you watched, Jack had a great idea then to say, well, there's loads of coaches out there that just want something simple where they can say, right, I might fancy playing 3 in the middle, 3 up front, 4 up front, if you want to go maverick and really go for it. What's someone else's ideas on that? And just make it as easy as possible to watch and gain some ideas from it. You know, you don't have to take it word by word, but take whatever you like out of it.
Well, if it's okay, we'll come back to your play stuff in a minute. But I'm intrigued to know then about the fact that you actually decided to set up a club, because I would imagine for most of us, what we do is we kind of either get a passion young and get involved in a club, or we kind of get thrown in a club because our kids get there and we just, you know, when the dad steps in and gets involved. So I'm interested, Jack, why didn't you just join another club, and why did you feel the need to set up your own one?
I'm a control freak.
Again, that's okay. That is the second most honest answer we've had from a coach. You're doing well.
I'd played for local clubs before I went to uni, and then sometimes if you want it to be done the way you want it to, you have to do it yourself. And I'm sure there are other clubs I would have liked, but I just couldn't help but want to push the training front more, just because I'm an amateur player. But that doesn't mean I don't want to train. It doesn't mean I don't want to improve. It doesn't mean I haven't got aspiration to get to the highest possible level of the amateur game. And, you know, that was what it was. So it started out with that, thinking, well, if I want this to be the way, I'll have to probably do it myself, because other clubs just weren't coaching. It was, you know, people weren't expected to train. And so you just didn't feel any development. So, yeah, I think it came from that. As a player, I wanted to be developed still. Yeah. So the way to do that was form my own club where training was mandatory. Made that rule myself. So when people join, they go, oh, right, okay, you've got to I mean, when I say mandatory, sometimes you miss because of work or you've got to pick up your kids. That's life. But we're expected to train, and we take it seriously, don't we? And even our third team now at Govan, the lads are there week in, week out in the cold because they want to be there, because we've got that group of people. So that was what it was, really. I wanted to play for a team that expected me to train.
Okay, that makes total sense. So just the club itself then, what is it? Just one age group? Is it just an adults team, or do you have young age groups there? And are you guys still playing?
It's open age. So went in with one team at open age, then got a second team open age, and then a third team at open age. And then we've got a link with a local junior club we've kept our own names and everything, but we started to work with them more, cross-coaching. James has been coaching with their junior side a fair bit. They're called Kingsway Athletic, give them a name drop.
Yep.
And then also my work with the university means we're linking with that. So it's primarily open age, but we're trying to grow that now and link to a local junior, link to the uni. So we're getting that mixture of age groups and grow it across all levels. Then hopefully your women's team comes in. We try to start a girls team. Not ready for that yet. But we're working towards having the full picture.
And are you still playing, both of you? You look like you both still play a bit.
I am just about.
Cheers,
All right. Who's the better player?
Well, if I give you a stat that I've played 10 minutes this season and I got 0 touches of the ball on my feet, 2 in my head, that will give you the idea of who's the better player, I think, currently.
You're either centre-back or you play a long ball centre-forward style of football. I can't work out which one it is, if it's 10 minutes, 2 touches with the head.
Yeah, definitely centre-back. Jack tried me as an idea for a couple of seasons up front, didn't you? But
yeah,
I think we'll say centre-back.
We don't talk about that.
Well, it will be interesting for us, because I don't know if you know or not, but the kind of the way we position our little podcast is we kind of look more at foundation and youth development age groups-ish. However, that said, the reality is we would like most of these young players to be playing football for the next 20, 30, 40 years of their lives. So having an understanding of what kind of an open age group looks like and what the coaching is like and the setup can be like, I think will be fascinating for listeners of all ages anyway. And for me personally, it's kind of, who hasn't been in that space for a long time, it's quite nice to know what's going on in those older age groups. So it might be a slightly different podcast for us. And if it's okay, I'm going to probably pick back to what you might think we could be doing with younger age groups to help them get in a better position to be adult footballers, if you like. So that's probably where we're headed with it. But would you mind talking a bit more about Edge of Play and the website itself? You've mentioned there's so much stuff online when you're starting off as a coach. There's too much. And actually to try and find the right stuff is really, really hard. And having that stuff packaged up in a way that speaks to the audience clearly, in real terms, is excellent. And what I've seen from what you guys have done with their website, that's what it looks like to me. So could you tell us a bit more about it and the kind of stuff that coaches would find if they were looking around on it?
Yep, sure. Do you want me to shoot, Jack?
Yeah, you go for it, mate.
Okay. So Edge of Play is predominantly a website that we've created with short, anywhere between 3 to 15-minute videos. So we've got just around the 300 video mark at the moment on the site, and that spans between coaching practices, sessions, and coach support videos for coaches out there. As we've touched on before, we kind of aimed it at the grassroots level coach. So you'll go through our videos, and the main structure is that we want it to be something educational and realistic. I think are two good words for it. So you'll go through it and you'll see Jack coach predominantly, but we've started to include other coaches on there. You'll see how we set up the session, because we'll use diagrams throughout it, because there's different learning styles for all different coaches. So some will enjoy listening to the coach, some will enjoy watching the session, some will enjoy the diagrams, some will enjoy the text. We try to include all of those in a video, and it's a little story from start to finish. Here's how the session started. Here's how we did a couple of coaching points or progressions or challenges throughout it. And then here's the end result there. We split those down into different sections. So we've got technical section, got tactical sections, which is videos like the one you watched on the 7-a-side formation, small-sided games, we've got a physical area, and then a coach support area. So we try and cover all of the different aspects of coaching. As you said, the environment out there is saturated with really good content at the moment. Actually, if you look on our WhatsApp group, there's people talking about fantastic ideas. You look on any of the social media platforms, there is great content out there. But you know, if you like something, you've got to remember where that was, who posted it, where to go to. Maybe you've forwarded it onto yourself on WhatsApp like I do, so I've got a little link back to it. But we thought, well, let's bring it all together so you've got one site, and that's, you know, it's got simple to understand categories. I want to do something. I want to do a small-sided game that's focusing on defending. I've got 8 to 10 videos there to go and watch.
And what would you say then is the ideal target market for the website? I mean, is it all coaches across all ages with all abilities?
I'd say it is a mixture. I mean, we started out, I think, with the idea it's just your grassroots coach who maybe has been doing it for a little while and wants to kind of go up a notch with the quality of the deliveries of the practices. But I think we've tried to make that broader and broader. Like during this phase at the moment, I'm trying to make a lot of stuff for new coaches. So someone that's brand new to coaching, that's completely green to it all and needs to understand formations, how to form the team and all those things. And so we're trying to cover that. But I suppose as well, we've also inadvertently, because we're so into coaching ourselves, we've also been told that sometimes our videos are quite technical. So we're thinking, well, that's quite, a basic video. But we like to think, because we're so into our coaching, if you watched it and you're working, even to elite level, you'd go, I could use that with the boys. I could use that idea. I might add more challenge to it, but, I could use it. So I think it's a bit of a round the houses answer, but we've both wanted to make this so whatever level you coach, and eventually whatever sport you coach, you would come to Edge of Play and go, there's something for everyone there, because it was all about getting a community. It just doesn't feel like there is a coaching community beyond, saying, I'm part of the FA. Beyond that, something that brings everyone from every country and says, because we all love the same thing, don't we?
Yeah. It's funny because I look at your site and I think, and I'm not criticising the FA here, I know they do some wonderful work in different areas and different things, but even the FA don't have that kind of clarity in their online resources. There's loads of stuff there, and there's certainly kind of ring fenced in certain areas and to some extent certain stages of player development. But I watched a couple of your videos, and you've got one out there spells out kind of the formats for the different age groups, the ball size, the goal size, the pitch sizes. And if you're a new coach, a volunteer coach that most of us are when we start off on this journey coming into that, you don't always get that. Or it might be buried in a one-page document in a book somewhere from the local league, but you can't really you've got to find out yourself, and having it presented in a way that's visual is great. For me personally, that works really well. But just the clarity of the stuff that you put on, it really, I think it just speaks. Whatever you're saying, whether it's relatively simple or more complicated, you seem to put it across in a really articulate and clear way, which I'm sure would resonate well with people and the coaches that are watching this. So it's certainly well put together.
Yeah,
well, it is. It must be the IT background and the coach experience combined. It's obviously worked well. You said that's 19 years weren't wasted, James.
Scott, I'm going to clip that last 2 minutes and use it for a promo for ourselves.
You're more than welcome to. It's the truth. We don't push products and services on our podcast at all. We talk from the heart about the stuff that we see, and if we think it's got value for other coaches to lose, we're more than happy to shout about it. We do so with books and other things as well. So no, I think it's well thought out and it's coming from the right places. I guess at some points, coming back to the reason you set up your own club rather than joined a team, I just wonder more broadly, lads, what you think are some of the things that we don't get right in the grassroots space. And, that could be from under 8s to under 18s and whatever else. But what do you think are maybe some of the key issues that we don't get quite right in grassroots football as coaches with our players? I guess.
I think for me, it's, if you're looking more at the junior side of it, it's the balance between when you're developing the players and when you started to say results are important. For me at Govan, results are important. It's open age. It's first team. We're trying to win. But it's particularly when I've been refereeing recently. I do a bit of refereeing as well. And you go around and you get a unique view of a coach because they're not seeing you as a coach that day. They don't know I'm a coach. And you're there in the middle. You listen to the way they speak to their players. You listen to the way they communicate. And I just feel some of them got it just right, absolutely spot on. And there's some with 10-year-old kids crying on the pitch because they've misplaced a pass and they know what that means. They know what that's going to happen. That balance, I don't think everyone's managed to find it. And I don't know, I just think if you're that coach that wants to win, that is fine. That is great. Just don't do it with your under 10s. Do it with an older age group because they'll want to win as well. But at 10, do you know what I mean? So it's that thing. I love results. I'm not one of those people that's going, oh, results don't matter. They do. But when they're 10, they don't matter to them as much as they do to us. And so I'd say that's what I notice is still an issue for grassroots. It hasn't quite found that balance yet between development and results.
You see that quite a lot. I've had an under 8s team and under 11s team, and there's no doubt about it. Everyone wants to win their games, but I guess it's the amount of focus you put on winning over development opportunities for the players that you've got in front of you. And under 8s, unfortunately, I would say the majority of teams that we see, the focus is definitely more about the result than it's about development. Not always exclusively, and it's not always a car crash with regards to the player environment, but it certainly isn't the coach's main focus is to develop the players. The scoreline is definitely coming first in most cases. What about you, James? Would you say something similar or anything else you'd like to pick up about some of the key issues?
Just touch on that point. I think one of the points that I had written down in my notes for this was around coach support for these coaches, because that coach that is on the sideline for that game, I'm doubting when they went through their FA course, if they did do it, or whichever football association you're going to be working through. I'm doubting they were the same in that course. Now, when you go through your badges or when you attend CPD events, you see loads of coaches that are really enthusiastic during the event. I've been lucky enough that the courses I've been on, they've been really good coaches, good set of coaches there. But then you go away from that course, and then that's it. You're on your own. It can be quite a lonely place sometimes. So you've got, 10 parents with 10 children that are bringing them down, and you're out there and there's an expectation on you, and that comes with pressures, like a lot of things do in adult life. But I just think that, there could be something. This is not to say it's not there, because our football association do provide a lot of content and they provide a lot of chances to go and get involved in a community of coaches. But I just think there's an opportunity here to give coach support throughout the grassroots levels, especially at foundation and, the important time that they're going through in their life. I think if you can have a regular presence of someone from the football association or a good group of community coaches that come down and you can just have a chat between yourselves, I think that could be a really good idea.
I think it's a great point, James. And I wondered a bit on the parents there. As a coach, however much you may have done the course and buy in some of the philosophy, I don't know what you did your level 2, you said, James. I don't know how recent that was. Was it the newest level 2 or was it an older one? Because
newest level 2.
So with the youth mods as part of the level 2. Yeah, you see. So, I did the old level 2 and youth mod separately, which was great. I like the youth mod course, but I wonder, however much that may win you over in that moment or on that course with that journey with those other coaches, when you're back out in the coalface on the weekends with your players and parents who haven't done the course that may still see football a bit different to how you see it, because they haven't had the benefit of going through the courses. No one to blame for this. They just haven't seen it. So they're used to maybe a more, should we say, traditional way of coaching and focusing on matches, how much that has an impact as well. So supporting the coach, I think, would be really important, but also is that parental education, I think. And it's almost something that we have to do as coaches as well as coach the kids.
I think you need your parents on board, don't you? Because like you said, they haven't done the course, but that frustrates me, because if you haven't done the course, or you don't know about the background to it all, don't open your mouth. It's that thing that you do the training and you're the one there on that Tuesday night in November when it's snowing, and you were coaching those kids, but then everyone wants to have their say and only on a match day. I totally get it, because I would too.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to say what I think. But I think that is where we need, as coaches, especially if you're with your under-8s, the parents have to be on board. There needs to be a coach meeting with the parents. This is where I'm doing it, guys. Are you on board? Yes. I'm not. Okay, fine. Here's some other clubs for you. I think people really need to empower themselves like that and say, this is how I'm doing it. Support me, or go somewhere else. This is why I'm doing it. Because it's so difficult. We've got enough, haven't we, against us without the parents going, why are you doing that again? He's rubbish up front. Should be my lad.
Yeah.
So, both of us are quite confident as coaches, but there's going to be a lot out there that they would find that quite daunting to have that conversation with a number of parents. So again, the coach report saying, maybe you have someone, a mentor from the FA that just comes down and visits. I compare it to, I've just had my first child, and we've had such great support from the midwives over week after week after week in the first few weeks. And it's, they come and they reassure you week on week that what you're doing is actually good and the baby's developing. And it's almost the same with coaching. Yeah, fine, you've passed your level 1. I'm going to come down and do a match with you in 2 weeks' time. Great. And then you sat on the sideline and they can say, if the parents are behind, giving out a load of grief, then the FA mentor can turn around and go, well, hang on a minute, and just back you up a little bit. I think that would help. It would help, but I'm asking for a lot of resource there. And I know there's probably not the amount of people or the amount of budget that can do that at the moment.
It's a good comparison to having a kid, I think, because the same thing with coaching and having a child is you don't get that time again, do you? And neither does the kid. So you can't afford to get it wrong too much, because you can't go back and repeat year 1 again. You can't go and repeat like an under 11s season again with your kids. They've got to get you almost feel under pressure to get it right first time. And like parenting, you never do get it all right first time or second or third time. But the more support you've got around you from experts, then I guess the calmer you can be in making that journey. How important is a philosophy for you guys? And again, I know it might be a bit different working at the sharper end in open age football where it's more about results, but do you have a philosophy, and is that something that is tangibly put across within the team or the club you've created and the team and the teams that you've got?
Yeah, absolutely. That was another thing for Govan, was that we were going to be a team that passed that ball and played out from the back and played possession football. And that was not as popular as it is now when we started out in 2001. So we were playing against teams that just hump that ball up the pitch, get them hit, and we were trying to pass that ball around and often failing doing that at times because it was harder on these pitches. And so there's been a definite overarching philosophy and a style of play which has come before results. As much as results are important, they were done under the idea that we'll do this play in the right way, respectfully and so on. That has genuinely been a part of it. But yeah, it was about playing that ball around, no fear football. So even when we've been up against it, we've stuck to that mandate really. The second team do it as well, which James does. That they play that way and they get it wrong sometimes and they keep playing that way. And even our thirds do, don't they? Our thirds look to play that ball. Perhaps as you go down the groups, we're less stringent on, this is exactly how it has to be. We bend it a bit. But yeah, the whole club's philosophy is if you went and watched Govan, we hope you'd see a team that is trying to play that ball around a bit, that believe in everyone having the ball at their feet and not being screamed at because they're at the back on the ball.
Well, and what about those wider values then? Like not just your playing principles, but also kind of your cultural ones, the values you have, or maybe the overriding values about the kind of players that you might have in your club and the other stakeholders, the parents, the supporters, other coaches in the club. What do you hold as kind of high values and your expectations around the other people that touch the team?
Yeah, we've both done a lot on that. From the start, Govan, it was I set a lot of rules in place about expectations, about what's expected at the start. And then we got a group of people that bought into that, and those that didn't fitted away. And then word of mouth brings people in and they join that culture. So the culture it's been a welcoming culture, but sometimes it's been a performance culture where we're very much about, can we drive this team up the leagues? That's always been there, I suppose. But along that's been honesty, hard work, playing with respect. There's a certain expectation of decency, which shouldn't stop because you're playing football. Yeah. There's still really, we can still be decent to one another, to the officials, to the opponent. So there's been an expectation there with that as well. Do you want to follow that up as well, James?
I think it's an important point to notice that the culture's coming through the players as well. So there was a tough time at the start where, as you said, you had to be very strict on, this is what I want from a football club. I expect the coaches to go and deliver that throughout the teams. But now you see new players coming into the squad that might not have been used to training, but the lads around them saying, "Are you going training on Wednesday?" No, why not? We train on Wednesdays. That's the kind of thing. Why are you not doing this? This is how we play. This is the style of play, and there's a language that we've been able to create throughout the club now. So you'll see the lads using, which is lovely as a coach. So we can have chats and try and build a kind of game model or philosophy for how we want to play. When the players start doing that, that's when it's sunk in. That's when a few of the things sunk in. So, someone will win the ball back. So part of our transition is the word secure. And we will, you'll hear a player say secure possession, and that, you love it. It's like, I've been, I've been coaching that for half a season now for the new lads. I'm drilling that in, and it's not so much the word; it's that they understand what secure means. So it's very important that culture is coming from the lads and not from the coaches. And just, sorry, I know you want to move on, but just that's done throughout the teams as well. So we have players freely moving between the first, second, and third team. If I was different to Jack, which I'm not, because there's a hierarchy at Govan. If I was different to Jack and wanted to coach a different way, which I don't, if a player came down to me and I started coaching a completely different philosophy and completely different tactics, it would be very confusing for them. Yeah. So it's good that if a player is coming down a level then, or just, for game time, they're hearing the same points being reinforced. If they're doing great in my group and they go up, the positional sense and the points that the way they play is again being reinforced at that.
You've got that continuity running through the three teams.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I know it's on a smaller scale and a much younger age group, but we do an under-8s team, and we stream them because we have different leagues that we play in. So we've got an A, B, and a C. We call them red, white, and blue, but that's what we've got. But we do the same thing. So all the three coaches, we have the same system of playing. We work on the same three principles each season. So whatever the team one of the players will be playing in or for, if they train with us for a week or move around, they're getting the same messages. It's a different coach, but it's the same messages with the same things. We share training practices, and I think that's important at under-8s, but it's got to be even more important, when you're talking about older players playing at a slightly more intense level, where the results probably are obviously a lot more important. 2 questions then. What age are the players roughly that you've got in your teams? I mean, how open is open age? And what are your biggest challenges with the teams? And are they the same from team to team, or do they differ compared to a team 1, team 2, or team 3?
I think the biggest challenge I have, and this is throughout all levels, all age ranges, is you have to, at grassroots, you have to be a master of adapting a session. So these aren't players on contracts that are going to turn up on the dot every time, otherwise they don't get the wage. You're going to turn up and you might prepare for a session with 10 players with a certain space, and then you get 8 players with half that space, and you have to adapt. Players have lives, adult players especially have lives, and they've got pressures around them. Even adapting at foundation level, foundation's even harder because you've got kids that are developing at different speeds. So how do you adapt? How do you have 5 children that are all developing at different speeds and get the right level of challenge for all 5? You're asking for a genius out on the football pitch, and it's such a tough job to do. You've got player A that's slightly older than the rest, but still on the same team, and they're physically more mature or mentally more mature, or you've got to set them a hard challenge, and you've got player B that's right at the bottom end of the spectrum, and you've got to set an easier challenge for them to keep them engaged and not make it too difficult. Again, it goes back to that coach support. You're asking a heck of a lot from a grassroots coach to go and deliver something engaging for everyone.
What's the player range, and what challenges do you find with the players?
Age range. I mean, for Govan, we've got lads that are 16, 17 that have just come fresh from junior, and we've got people up to. I'm 40 and I'm not the oldest. How old is Andy Lang?
Oh, I don't know.
Guy's in his 50s.
You can't say that on the podcast, can you? 21, he's 21. Let's let him off.
No, he's older than me. He's older. I'm definitely mentioning him.
Doing well, he's still playing.
Big age range. Big age range of lads. I mean, the first.
Does that present a challenge in itself?
Yeah, it is. It is, but I don't know. It works really well actually, because the older lads want to keep up with the younger lads. So the older lads have to be fit. They have to keep fit. I suppose because of the way we've done it, it's not like we've got some lads that are 20 odd stone that are still coming down having a cigarette, and because they're part of this same culture. The 16-year-old can be working with the 50-year-old in a session, and it works, well. Obviously, they adapt it themselves how they need to. But no, the age thing hasn't really been too much of a thing. And I'd say as me and James, our little group who were there when the club started, have all started to retire and become more at the side of the pitch. I suppose now it feels like it's a younger, vibrant club again, and we're looking at these young lads running around now, which is sad.
But that must be testament to the philosophy you put in place then, because if you can have quite a wide spectrum of age players playing together, but with the same kind of mindset and approach, that shows you obviously you must have that overarching culture within that club to make sure that people who walk through that door know that's what you do here. So whether you are 16 or 36, the attitude's got to be the same with application and dedication to the cause.
One of the things with it, I mean, is that it doesn't matter how old you are, and that it's said a lot at the top level now, but you actually have to mean that. And so with the first team this year, we've got a lad that's come in and he's 17, and then we've got me still playing a bit and I'm 40. That's just the way it is, because why should it matter? If I probably have to do more work to keep up with that kid now, but I'll understand the game better than him, but that's fine. So there's a lovely blend of ages. To me, the age, it really doesn't matter really. If you put your time to it, then it's kind of lovely. It's a lovely blend of people that are totally different to each other in many ways, but they come together and there's an understanding. This is how we are at Govan, which is great. I was thinking though, the biggest challenge that I find more than anything else is cricket. It's cricket.
Losing the players to play cricket for the summer season.
Every summer, apart from this summer.
Apart from this one, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time. Every summer, cricket, it just so happens that 3 or 4 of our stronger players are cricketers. Right. And so, we lose them. So we start the season without them. And it's always like, can we get through? When's that cricket season finishing?
At least they don't play in key areas,
Yeah.
I think one for me is that we do have a couple of, you forget that we've got players that are 16, 17, 18 playing at open age football. And I think for something I've definitely done this season is I've dug out a player who is only 17 years old, the same as I would dig out my 32-year-old centre forward. And I forget sometimes, because he holds himself so well and he plays so well and he comes across as so mature, I forget sometimes that he is still only 17.
It's still young, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you have to, it's a difficult one to do that, because obviously I don't want to put, some can handle it really well, some can't. You have to know your players basically, but you also have to understand that they're not a fully developed adult at 16 or 17 still. There's still a long way to go. Whereas with a 32-year-old striker, I can give him pelters for missing every time.
Yeah. Well, on that one then, how much do you focus? Because they're still developing, right? I mean, you could argue maybe at 36 towards 40, there's less development. But as a team, how much do you focus on development of the individual or the team ahead of just results? So obviously, younger age groups, we're rotating the boys around. They play everywhere, equal playing time, courage to make mistakes, if you like. It's part of the learning journey. But that must shift, obviously, when you get to the age you're at and the level you guys are coaching at. How does that impact in training, and do you forget about developing the player completely, or is it just not as important as it might be? It's still there, but not as important as it might have been maybe 5 or 6 years ago. If you
didn't look at the development of the player, the results wouldn't be as good. Anyway, I do think they're in, so like we do player profile, so each player gets a profile where we go through all their strengths, areas for development. They're involved in that, so there's a bit of an understanding that, right, you're working on this part of your game. try and get it right by this phase of the year. So this development is 100% there. But yeah, the team comes first ultimately as well. So whilst it might be your development point to use your left foot more, if you go through on goal on your right foot, but go onto your left and miss it, then you've let the team down and the team comes first. So it's just a balance, isn't it? I'd say a balance where, yeah, we're developing you as an individual, but the team will always come first for us, and the team are trying to win the game. So it's just a balance, I'd say.
Yes, it's spot on that. I think without player development, you're not going to get performance. They have to feel, they're not robots, they have to feel like that you're investing time and effort into them so that they develop. It helps you as a coach as well. So the template we've got for player development, strengths and weaknesses, it allows you during the session to, or even before a session. So I've run a session before on traveling with the ball out, and there's a couple out of that when we play out the back, have put that down as a development area. So before that session even starts, you can say to them, look, tonight's session is on something that's really key for your development. In that session, you can, when you're making a coaching intervention, you can highlight a player and saying, you know, this is a really big thing for you, let's get going. All of a sudden their engagement goes up just because you've related it personally to someone. You know, they're then, right, want to get on with this.
You've got that buy-in and that focus from them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jack, you mentioned a minute ago about game model, and it's a bit of a hot topic for me at the moment, looking at game models and stuff. So do you have a game model? And is that, if you do, is it something that's consistent across, is it one that's for all three teams, or is it one that you have as individual coaches that you then use to kind of drive your training practices and the sessions that you put on?
Absolutely have a game model, and that's across all three teams. So there are set things that we want the team to do in possession, out of possession, and in the two transitions between. We work, the training is actually structured, so we don't do tactical periodization as in we do a whole month on something, but we do it in a very short blocks. So Jack wants us to play a possession-based football. So 2 out of the 4 sessions in a month will be based around in possession of the football, because that replicates what we're trying to do on a Saturday. You know, we want 60% of possession on a Saturday. 60% of the training games should then focus on possession. And yeah, I think it's, if you can then get that through to the players, again, it's familiarity, isn't it? So you find those messages coming across from the players on the pitch, but that takes a lot of work. Takes a lot of work to get that in. So yeah, we do have one. I think we could probably work on it more, but there's definitely a great one in place throughout the three teams. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, it's something just to keep working, isn't it? I think over the last lot of years, it's got more and more kind of developed and clearer, and we're trying to get the training to kind of all tally up. But yeah, there's a process we're always getting to, a style of play, always working towards through training, through matches. But it's slow because I've done it for that long now. I know when you get a group of lads that are new together, it doesn't just happen. It's like with the uni this year doing that. These players are good players, but apparently they've played direct football for years. They got it forward quick, and I've come in and said, no, we're doing this now. And they're all like, well, I like that idea. But then weeks later, they still couldn't do it because, we go back on our training, don't we?
Yeah. So let's look at training, if you don't mind. I'd be intrigued to know, well, how much time you get with the players training-wise, and what a typical training session may look like for you guys.
With Govan, we hope we're going to get it this year with all the lockdown. I hope we're going to get it. Pre-season wise, we sessions a week through the first month.
How many?
Fit, up to
3,
speed. Three a week. Yeah. During the pre-season. And then, we try and get up to speed, ready to hit the season in August. And then it generally follows a process then of like a pattern of one evening a week for 2 hours and then the match. But a lot of our lads now, as it's gone on, more and more, aren't they, James, now are the fitness, the gym members, so they do their gym work on Monday individually. It's something we sometimes do extra govern sessions during the season, but it's hard. So we've ended up doing like a big session on a Wednesday where we have 2 hours together. Instead of 2 1 hours, we do that. And then, we top it up with different bits here and there. The uni lads do like 3 sessions a week. They're doing a lot. They have a lot more time on their hands. So they do 3 to 4 a week. So it's quite full on with that.
Yeah, I think the physical aspect of it that you touched on there, they're getting better. The physical side comes again from setting that expectation of performance. So if you drop below that, then there are reasons why. And sometimes you've got to look at some corners, sometimes you've got to look at the physical corner. And then you've got the players setting those expectations. Like we've got one lad in your squad from who works at Burnley, who's just a brilliant example of of fitness out on the pitch and, you know, setting standards and demanding performance is absolutely fantastic. When you have architects like that out on the pitch, you set those examples and set those points for everybody else, then people follow that.
Yeah.
They look at it and go, yeah, I would like to play like that someday.
But I guess likewise, if you've got others the other end, it can kind of go down quite quick, can't it, as well? So it's important that momentum stays looking in the positive way and driving the players towards the excellent side rather than the not so excellent side.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a goalkeeper who probably didn't, he wouldn't mind me saying this, probably didn't enjoy running
as well as a goalkeeper.
At the best of times in his at the best of times during his week. But then the lads set a 200k challenge during April, and they've started getting him out on like 3, 4, 5k runs. He hit 200k at the end of April. It was like a massive achievement for him, and you know, but that's due to 7 or 8 others in the group consistently positively reinforcing every time he's going out running, you know, pats on the back, and well, not literally pats on the back because no one can touch each other, but
from 2 meters,
from 2 meters, virtual high fives.
And what about the session itself then, guys? What would that look like? Would you have, if I was watching your session, James, or yours, Jack, would they be the same structure? Would they be different? Do you work on your own team separately? And does that change between Govan and what you might do with the uni team? Just to try and get a sense of what a typical training session might look like.
Yeah, that's a good question. No, they're pretty formulaic as well. Hopefully, not in a sense that it's the same stuff. We do different things all the time, but there's a general pattern to it with our warm ups, getting them moving quick. A lot like you do with the kids team. We do a bit more on the warm up because we're older and we need that for the muscles. But then, we tend to do something technical at the start with the physical. So there'll be some running involving ball work. That's been a big part of everything with Edge of Play and with Govan. Something getting the heart racing a bit. Then it gets something a bit more tactical in the session. So whatever, if it's in possession, final third, we'll work on that as the main part of the session, if you like. And then invariably, even though it's a blokes team, we put that into game practice too. We're lucky a lot of times we get 11-a-side pitch, so we do 11-a-side phase of play to then show that in practice. So you'd see that general pattern, warm up, something technical, something a bit physical involved in that tactical, and then a phase of play. So you tend to see that, I'd say, pretty much all our sessions now, wouldn't you? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, mine will be very similar because obviously you observe coaches that you've played under, and I played under Jack. So I've probably taken on that structure of doing a session from him. And as you pointed out, you know, if I'm doing something on out of possession, he's doing it on the other pitch. So that next week, if a player with me is with Jack, then they've done their out of possession bit and they're going to work. And, you know, the players are getting the full range. But mine's changing all the time. The way you have that structure, you know, we want to warm up. So you physically prepare the players. And I probably would do the technical, maybe a tactical or small-sided game, and then game time at the end. But to give you some examples, my mentor from the FA got me really thinking about the first technical one I was doing was probably too much unopposed to start with. So I'm trying to change that at the moment. The game time at the end, a definite focus on the session. So don't just let them go off and play half an hour game time at the end. It has to be conditioned for the session in there. And then, just looking at making sure every part of the session is engaging. And for adults, I think they want to come away knowing that they've worked hard as well. So not too much. We only get two hours a week. My coaching interventions are probably far too long as they are at the moment. I do love a good coaching intervention when I get passionate. But if they've got 2 hours a week, then they can't be listening to me for 40 minutes. Yeah. Sorry, what was that?
It's your ball rolling time going there.
They don't want to be listening to me for 40 minutes. As excited as I am, they don't want to do that. So, it's making sure they've got a good workout as well.
What would you say you've changed the most over maybe the last 4, 5, 6 years of coaching?
Yeah, good question. I think it's been the phase of plays thing. I think it's been kind of taking everything you've done in the session, and the players feel they're getting their game time out of it in a way, but really you're structuring it around a certain thing. So the restart position or something like that, if you're working wing play, could be from this area. If we've been doing pressing, it starts with the opposition goal kick and we start in there. So you let it start like that and it still goes on then. You might let it free play for quite a while, right back to start position. The players hardly even notice it now that we're working pressing from that moment again and again and again, but it doesn't feel like that because you've got the rest of the game going on. So I suppose for me, that's been what I've changed. And it's just so much 11-a-side focus now. Everything's about, we're 11-a-side team, so how does that link to that? How does it get to the end goal? Not just a possession drill. I used to do possession drills because I love them. Yeah. They're great. 3v3v3, do it all day. It's great. But trying to make it relevant to a game, 11 aside, is the thing, really.
That relevance is that key word. And I think as a coach, that's what you learn becomes the most important thing, because then you get the transference, right?
Yeah.
Go on, James. Sorry, what would be your thing?
For me, it would be becoming more performance-based, results-based. I think when I first went into coaching, especially coming straight from the playing squad, I probably took too much time trying to make sure people were having fun and the sessions were fun and there was a good vibe between the lads. And I've probably moved more towards making sure that the sessions are based around performing on a weekend now. There's little bits I'm improving all the time. So my coaching position is one. I like to get straight in the middle of the session, but sometimes I just find myself in the way. So I'm trying to look at that a little bit.
That's
my interventions, as I said.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I want to be on the pitch.
Showing for the ball.
My interventions are another, I love getting in and getting excited, talking about football, but little things. But the main one for me is, getting a more performance-based session. So doing something that is gonna help on a Saturday. I used to do a whole wide variety of sessions as well. Something that I'd watch on Twitter and I'd think, oh, that looks fun, and go and do that on a Wednesday. And I'm trying now to reduce that and really focus on just a core set of practices that will help us, rather than, because sometimes I think that it's me getting bored of something. No, it's not. I think the players will get bored of something, and actually they don't. They like the repetition and they like the standard messages coming across. But I think they're getting bored of something, if that makes sense.
It does make total sense. So to be a bit selfish now, if that's okay, guys, if you can help me out a little bit. Working with younger age groups, so 8, 9, 10s, 11s, any suggestions or recommendations you could give to me and the other coaches out there like me that work in that space with boys and girls about if you could be in our shoes and coach those kids that we've got access to, what would you do, having an insight as to what the path looks like maybe 5 to 10 years ahead for these kids?
I mean, I think it's about one thing we've realised even with Govan is the bigger picture. Having the bigger picture, being aware of what that is, where are you going to? So for a junior club, that might not even be the end of the under-9s, under-8 season. It could be the end of under-16. So that kid's bigger picture, where's he getting to? And I think we have to keep reminding ourselves of that, because week to week, it is so wearing at times, because you'll be working on something and you're telling that kid, try and do this, right? Okay. And it takes so long to make that progression. The other kid's cracked it and he's moved on with that. And this kid just can't get past that. Because my background's teaching. While James was doing his IT work, I was equally unhappy in teaching for many years. Loved working with kids, all the red tape, all that. Anyway, so point is, kids' progress is just bizarre. Sometimes it's almost going downwards, and you're like, what we're doing wrong?
No,
and all of a sudden it clicks, and it's years later, kids get in touch and go, thank you for what you did back then. I wasn't on board at the time, but I've got it now. Yeah. I've got it. And I think it's football, isn't it? You look back at your junior coach, it might only be in your adult years, you go, I know what he was saying now. I've got it. I know why he was telling me. And that means it worked. But that coach doesn't get the joy of seeing it work because it happened away from them. So I think junior coach is an incredible role, because you might not get the dividends of the work you put in from that kid, which is why it's a cracking role to do, and so difficult.
You just mentioned a quote there, what am I doing wrong? I think that's such a good thing that so many coaches will think during their sessions, and you might not be doing anything wrong. As you just said, and I think for me, for junior coaches, it's getting a good support network around you. I think I've mentioned that in a couple of other questions. It's hugely important for me. Having someone there to work with you that you can bounce ideas off, or you can say, look, is this an absolute car crash of a session? And for them to say, no, it's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. And you've worked on your philosophy as a club or your game model as a club. And so you've got 2 or 3 coaches there with one age group. And it's not, everyone's not going to be lucky enough to have that. But I think if you can get it, fantastic. If you can't at your club, like our WhatsApp group that we've got, love that group. So many good ideas bouncing around, so much good positive reinforcement from it. Twitter, if you find the right people on Twitter or social media apps that you like to follow and you like to hear them and you can engage with them, again, that's going to give you that reinforcement to just not feel like you're on your own. basically, because I think that can be where the really scary times come.
Thinking long term is critical. I've seen it myself. And I think when you start your coaching journey, you want to see instant results. You want to do a session on the Saturday and see the kids get at the end of the session, and also then hopefully see it in the match on the Sunday. And the reality is that most don't get at the end of the session. If they do, it's because you made it too easy. Actually, you kind of manufactured it out rather than actually play out in practice against competition. And where if you park like the session, or even 6 weeks, or even 6 months, and think maybe a season, 2 or 3 seasons, then it's amazing what you can achieve with children if you give them the time to get there at their pace. So definitely that long-term thinking, and the fact that the learning is not linear. And if they go backwards, it's fine. That can last a session, a week, a month, even a season. A kid can go back and then kick on again at some point. And having a support network, James, honestly, you're so right. Just not feeling like you're on your own and being able to kind of sound ideas of other people. I think it's so important. Yeah, I couldn't agree with those two things anymore from my own relatively short-term experience. So good points. We often ask coaches if there was one thing they could change in the grassroots space, not like 100, but just one thing they could change. If you were king for a day, what would that be?
Do you want to go first, James?
Oh, it's just going to be the same point. It's going to be, put some money into grassroots football.
Yeah.
Give clubs the opportunity to put in a proper coaching structure where the coaches are going to enjoy it, the kids are going to enjoy it. But I don't think it's there. But if I was king for a day, yeah, why not?
You make it happen.
Money,
we'll take that one.
Money from Peter to pay Paul, put it into grassroots football.
Can I
James,
have 2?
Go on, James. You can have 2, but James, just your one then. So look, I think what people would probably say, having had this conversation with FA people before, I'm sure you have, they would say, okay, then you've got the money. What are you going to do with it? Where's your first bit of money going on? If you had it, what would you lean to first?
Well, it's providing good facilities and providing the perfect opportunity for a coach to create an environment in there. So if you can fund clubs that they can go and get a good facility and provide the right equipment for coaches, and you've got enough money that you can maybe have 2 or 3 coaches per team, or go out there and do that, then I think that gives everybody the best possible opportunity to go and do what they want. Sounds good. Brilliant. Thanks, James. You want 2, do you, Jack?
One links to that. But yeah, I've got a serious one and probably a less serious one. But the more serious one is just, it frustrates me like mad that the FA, as great as they are, they hold the ownership of all our development. And so if you want to get on a course, but the FA don't have a course, you're not doing the course. And we've both found at times this frustrating. I find it so, if I wanted to do a course next week, I want to be able to do that course. I'll have to pay for it, and that's fine. So I'd love there to be much more opportunity for people to get on courses, and top up courses and so on. Should it just be 1, 2, UEFA B? Should there be stuff in between? I know there's webinars and all those things, but if you want to push on, there should be no barrier to learning, none at all. If you want to get on a course, you should be able to get within a month or so. So I'd love there to be a way. I don't know how. I think it'd have to go beyond the FA. You'd have to be able to say anyone can provide as long as UEFA accredit them. So that would be a more serious one. And then the other one, I just had this before, this thought, what would it be? What do you hate most about coaching? I hate it on November when I'm trying to get 4 mannequins into the back of my Micra. So which I manage somehow without impaling myself. So what I want is every venue that James's money that he's getting, because he's king for the day, all that money for the facilities, every facility has a lockup. All that gear that's in my garage is a lockup everywhere. So you get there, you've got mannequins on tap, you've got all your footballs, your cones, speed parachutes, all in there. All in there, guys. A lockup. Every venue has a lockup.
That sounds nice.
It sounds perfect. It's a good point.
What would yours be, Scott?
I think, well, obviously we work in the younger space. What I would love to see working with the younger age groups, and it's back to the point you made at the beginning, I think, about winning and development, and how the two, there's nothing wrong with wanting to win 100%, but actually helping coaches focus on development, I think, isn't easy, particularly in the foundation youth development phases, because we're human beings and football's emotive and you get caught up in the moments. And I've seen some of the best coaches that will talk a great game, nice people, you have a beer with them happily, but come a game day, there's a different side comes out. And that's at very young age groups. And then these are not bad people by any stretch. And they're passionate and they care and they want to do the right things, but something gets inside them. So I kind of feel like that. I think the leagues we play in, if they were forced to have more rules that make you have a development focus, I think would be a good thing. Just little things like you have to have 2 goalkeepers, like one each half, so the kids have to rotate a little bit. Maybe the scores don't matter after half time or something. I've got some own ideas, but I don't really care what those are, but just things that categorically say, look, under 9s in any league you're going to play in, these 5 rules are in place, because that's just a reminder to everyone that this isn't about results. Yes.
What a lovely idea.
Because then it takes pressure off as a coach, doesn't it? It's not your call then. It's like you just turn up, and it is about, you kind of have to make good choices for the kids. You don't
almost replace a league table of results with a league table of development points.
100%.
Yeah.
James, I'd go further. I'd have weekly focuses. So this week, or maybe 2 week ones where you say, okay, this week the goals count for 1 touch finishes. So you've got to be a passing team. Or this week it's the first team that can get all their players to get a goal wins, kind of thing. That's what counts, So
Brilliant.
Play your games. And if you want to have a different mindset, because you're a slightly different coach, well, you're going to look a bit silly because everyone else is playing this way and doing the right thing. So I think we could do it, but maybe we're not quite there yet. The FA with Pete Sturgis and everyone else, I think, has made a great effort to try and good principles in play for foundation phase football. Get on the ball, just not panic and kick it long where we can. However, in match days, you see a very different, that doesn't transfer in matches as much as you like it to. But the message is right from the FA in training. But I still think we could do more around matches. And ultimately, it's the match day experience that really gets kids either sticking with football or leaving football. Because most kids will quit because they don't like the Sundays, not they don't like the training on the Saturdays. So yeah, I've gone off on one there. That's not supposed to be.
Scott, here you go. Take my king's hat. There you go.
I'll take your money first, though. Is that all right?
Yeah, okay.
Away for B
just use me. Use me for my money and then get rid of me, yeah? Mutiny.
Guys, thank you so much. Look, but before I let you go, if it's all right, can you just tell us what you're up to now, what your future plans are? Obviously, I reckon the coronavirus thing is having an impact, of course, but what are you hoping the season's going to look like for you and maybe the next 5 years or so?
Just very quickly on the coronavirus thing, with EduPlay, we had to change the style of content that we've done. So we've done some great, Jack's done some really good ball mastery stuff, and we've done some coach support stuff. And I think in general, I love seeing the social media feeds now of people sharing ideas. I think this has really brought out the best in some of the coaches. Sorry, I just wanted to pop that in.
100%, James, spot on. It's a good point. Yeah. No, I was going to mention that at the end, but your EduPlay stuff is great. I've seen your daily videos. I don't know where you do them, Jack. Is it in your house somewhere? But you're working in a tight space, which is working on your Cruyff turns and your scissors and stuff, but they're excellent. So well done for doing to encourage us all to stay on the ball a little bit, even in lockdown. It's a great effort. And I'll say it now quickly then, I would highly recommend coaches out there have a look at your website and just see for themselves what's there. It's their decision what they do with that, but certainly worth a look. I've been inspired by the stuff you put out there, and it's been helping me, so I'm grateful. What's your plans, lads, for the next season or next 5 years?
First of all, hopefully we get a pre-season, look into that. So we're starting to plan that now. What I'm doing is trying to collide the 2 clubs I'm coaching. So we're building a partnership with the uni and Govan, because we can see there being a mutual beneficial thing there where we offer football to people that finish university and stay in the area. So really trying to build that up. And yeah, between those 2, kind of work in that direction to try and get Govan up to the top level. So we're currently Division 1 of the Manchester League, and we're trying to get the club into the Premier, which is step 7, and then the plan is get the club in the next 5 years towards the Northwest Counties, so try and get them into the semi-pro levels. That's kind of been the role all along, really, to take it up and up and up through there.
Very good. All right, good ambition, and it's going the right way by the sounds of it.
Working at it.
Yeah, very good. And what about you then, James? Is that going to be similar for you then, is it?
Yeah, it's very, very similar. And then on a personal level, I've only been coaching for 4 years, so you see a lot of coaches out there now that are starting at 18, 19, 20. They've already got 2 decades on me. So just to continue my coaching journey, really, try and improve myself there and support the coaches that I work with. What about you, Scott? How's your coaching going?
Good. Well, back to your point, Jack, a little bit around, I did my level 1, level 2, youth mods 1, 2 and 3. I did the youth award, but I can't go any further because I'm not coaching a 9s or 11s team. And in our FA, even with an 11s team, you've got almost no hope of getting on your way for B. So it's a bit of a frustration, but it's not the end of the world. So just keep learning, trying to get some good people, having conversations around key topics, keep practicing, keep observing other coaches. What I will say, to be fair to some of the academies out there, is they're open doors pretty much. I've had the benefit of going to see some great sessions with Chelsea, with Arsenal, QPR, got out and seen different coaches, and that helps loads. We're based in Northwest London, so really it's as much as you want to put yourself out there, there's as much opportunity to learn really off the official badges route, if you like, as you want to put the time into doing it. But it would be nice to get the recognition through the badges as well at some point. So I think keep learning, keep working with the youngsters, and just try and give the kids the best experience possible we can. And hopefully through the podcast, just share some of that so other coaches get to hear from good people like yourselves. And then in turn, that will impact on their sessions and the kids they coach to get a better experience. And it's kind of the hope, I guess. But really just right now, I'd say getting out for a Saturday training session for an hour with half a dozen kids, that would do me after 8 weeks of lockdown. Boys, thank you so much for your time. I'm really, really grateful. It would be great to have you back, or maybe at some point in the future to update us on. We could maybe pick a theme and dig it apart a little bit and get into more detail. That's been a general conversation, but for me, it's been fantastic to know, what it's like working maybe with those open age groups, some of the challenges you face, and some of the things that we can do to get our kids in a good position for when they reach you guys.
Thanks very much. It's been great. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you. Really enjoyed it, and thank you for putting the content together. I've heard some of your other podcasts, and I've really enjoyed this one, and I think coaches will really love it. So thanks a lot, Scott.
It's kind of you to say, James. Thank you very much. Best of luck with being a dad. That's going to keep you a few sleepless nights.
Thanks, buddy. Tougher than coaching, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I didn't want to put you off too early. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Take care. Bye now.